My name is Lydia Gill, and I am a part of the recruitment team here at the University of Toronto. I myself am a graduate of U of T, so U of T alum, and a current graduate student here. So really happy to be here with you. I will also allow my two phenomenal panelists who are current students here at U of T to join me in introducing themselves. I'll first pass it to Nikisha and then Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Nikisha. I'm a third-year student, and I'm double majoring in sociology and environmental studies.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jonathan. I'm currently in my fourth year doing a specialist in Spanish within the Faculty of Arts and Science, and I'm here at the St. George campus.
Excellent. I see OJ's joining us from UT Mississauga. Hi, OJ. Welcome to tonight's session. So happy to have you here. Now, before we get started, tonight is our Black Student and Family webinar. So hope that you are watching with your parents. We're going to go through a little bit about U of T and what's available here at the University of Toronto, but then also highlighting some really unique supports that are available to Black students at all three of our campuses. Now, before we jump into things, some housekeeping for tonight. If you are in need of live captioning, you'll notice that the live transcript has been turned on. If you do have questions, we're asking you to hold it until the end of the presentation. So we will open up at the end of the presentation for Q&A. And at the end of the presentation, we will also jump into a bit of a student panel with Nikisha and Jonathan, where you get to ask them some of the questions. Maybe you want to hear directly from our students. They're both very much involved on campus and would be great resources for you. So I'm going to get started now, and I will actually we're all going to sort of go off camera so you can focus on the screen, focus on the slides, and hear what we are saying. All right. So there's going to be sort of three main things I want you to remember about U of T, Mia, and in particular, the fact that one, we are Canada's top research university. Two, that we are a place of communities, and that is inclusive of a number of diverse communities. And three, that U of T students really have the ability to mix and match programs, unlike other institutions. And in addition to that, that there are so many supports that are available to our Black student community. So my first takeaway for tonight is that U of T is Canada's top research university, and we have an incredible reputation for our academics and faculty. Now, not only are we ranked top in regards to Canada, we are also ranked in the top 18 globally. So that means that when you leave the University of Toronto, your degree is portable, meaning you can take it anywhere in the world, and it will be recognized for its quality of education, and it will also be recognized in amongst that sort of top 20 global institutions. So when you're thinking of schools like Harvard, Yale, Oxford, the University of Toronto degree falls into that same sort of grouping of schools, and it will be recognized for that quality as you take it both inside Canada or maybe externally. Now, you may be wondering, how did we get to these rankings each year? It's because of a few things, and in particular, our legacy of discovery and innovation. So you may know that insulin was founded at U of T, but also stem cell research started here, the first nerve transplant, and we graduate Olympians, journalists, some really phenomenal prime ministers. We've done quite amazing things, so much so that we even have 600,000 living alumni in over 190 countries. So again, some of those really amazing things have taken place here at U of T, and we hope that you would see this as a community that you can join. But for me personally, I think one of the most inspiring folks here, and is one of many, but some of the amazing research and things that are emerging here at U of T right now is really coming out of our Scarborough campus, and in particular, the Andrade Lab. And this lab is run by Dr. Madian Andrade, who is pictured here, who studies how the reproductive behaviors of males and females evolve through the interaction of natural selection in variable ecological contexts. Now, Dr. Andrade holds a number of titles. She's a faculty member at U of T Scarborough, a Canadian Research Chair in Integrative Behavioral Ecology, and she's the Vice Dean of Faculty Affairs and Equity at the Scarborough campus. And I think Dr. Madian Andrade is an example of some of the amazing faculty that are here, and in particular, Black faculty who are really adding to a lot of the discovery that is taking place here at the University of Toronto. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about what communities are available for you here at the University of Toronto. So we were founded in 1827. So we are the country's oldest university. We're almost 200 years old. We're creeping up there fairly quickly. But the important thing to know about U of T is that even though we've been around much longer than most institutions, we know that there have been communities that have been here much longer. And we really do wish to acknowledge the land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the home to the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit. This home is still the meeting place of many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are truly grateful to have the opportunity to work and learn on this land. Now, not only are we Canada's oldest university, we are Canada's largest university with over 10,000 course offerings across our 3 campuses. There really is the opportunity, there is the advantage of a choice here at the University of Toronto. And what's really unique about the University of U of T is the different communities that are available to you. In particular, our 3 distinct campuses. So the first choice you're going to have to make as a high school student is going to be what campus where you physically want to be and what campus you want to study at. Now, regardless of what campus you choose, we are one university with 3 distinct campuses. Regardless of which campus you choose, you will still be earning the same U of T degree, same quality of education. Now, in regards to when you graduate, it'll say U of T on that. It doesn't say a campus. It'll just say the University of Toronto. And so knowing that you really have the ability to choose the space and physical space that makes the most sense for you and that you feel most comfortable at. So it's important that when you're thinking about your choices about U of T, that you are mindful as to we have 3 distinct spaces that are available to you, but they are all the University of Toronto. So let's talk a little bit more about those. First, we have U of T Mississauga in the West End. And U of T Mississauga is about 30 minutes west of downtown Toronto, of course, in the city of Mississauga. It's about a mid-sized campus with about 15,000 students. And it sits on a really lush Credit Valley. It's absolutely beautiful with beautiful woodlands and gardens, and really is a more modern campus with a ton of new buildings. Now, the St. George campus is smack dab in downtown Toronto. It is our founding campus, and it has about 35,000 undergraduate students studying there. You'll see older buildings like this building here, and a lot of newer labs that are again going to be new spaces. So a bit of mix of old and new that's available to you as a high school student thinking about coming to UT, and really it's smack dab in the center of the city of Toronto, and the city of Toronto really is going to be at your doorstep. Now, our 3rd campus is about 30 minutes east of us, and that's the University of Toronto Scarborough. Now, at the Scarborough campus, this really is the campus for students that learn best by doing, as we consider it our co-op campus, where we offer over 45 different areas in co-op programming, anything from the arts, business, and science. Now, in addition to that, Scarborough, similar to Mississauga, is a mid-sized campus, and it also sits on the Highland Creek Valley, which is an absolutely beautiful lush valley that is accessible to all of our students. And so that tells you a little bit about our 3 campuses and the physical space in which you can be in. But regardless of what campus you're at, there is an engaging and supporting community available to you. There are a lot of ways in which we support our students in achieving this. Things like academic success centers, learning strategists, and peer mentors. These are all available to you regardless of the campus that you're at. Our professors all have office hours to meet with you. We provide personal counseling, academic counseling. There will be registrars and financial aid advising as well that are available to you. We want to ensure that you are successful when you come here, and we provide the services and supports for you to get there. Now, these are going to be, again, your more academic and curricular supports. But in addition to that, there's a significant community that is available to you. You will not only find supportive communities on your campus, in your college, in your residence, or within your program, you will also have access to a number of dedicated Black student communities, from our Black Students Associations to the Caribbean Connections, and even those that are more niche, like the National Society of Black Engineers, pictured here. All offer ongoing programming throughout your 4 years, and they're a great place to see yourself, find commonality, and share in culturally reflective spaces. So this is a great place to meet students who you may see yourselves in, find some really culturally relevant opportunities, and find connections available to you at all 3 campuses. You may be wondering, how do I get information about this now? So fortunately, you get to see all that our campuses have to offer you right here at our virtual hub for Black high school students. Check out this website to see community on campus, scholarships for Black students, and upcoming events from all 3 campuses. This hub is updated regularly for you to tap into the Black community at U of T. So I encourage you to check out that website and check out all that is available to you that's happening across our 3 campuses. So that brings me to my last takeaway for today, and that's U of T students can mix and match programs and experiences to build personalized degrees. You really do have that unique ability to do so at U of T. With over 700 program options, let's shift our attention now to what you can study and where you can study it. So at U of T, you're going to find that there are 5 distinct learning communities. The first and the largest is arts, business, and science. Second, engineering. Third, architectural and visual studies. Fourth, kinesiology, and 5th will be music. So this is going to be actually what you can study, and we're going to dive in a little bit deeper as to where you can find it. Now, as I said before, arts, business, and science are going to be the largest program area available at U of T, and you'll find it at all 3 campuses. Now, in regards to, you're going to find some programs that are going to be available at all 3, and some that will only be available at 1. So if, for instance, we start with the arts, you'll find programs like history, philosophy, sociology. You'll find those programs at all 3 campuses. But say, for instance, you were really interested in a language, you may want to consider the St. George campus because we offer over 50 language programs there. Now, in regards to business, where better to study business than right in the financial economic hub of Canada, right here in the GTA. Now, with business at U of T, it will depend on the degree that you want to pursue. At the St. George campus, you will find a Bachelor's of Commerce in Rotman Commerce. At the Scarborough campus, you will find a BBA or Bachelor's of Business Administration and Management. What's unique about Mississauga is that they offer both a Bachelor's of Commerce and a Bachelor's of Business Administration. And in regards to science, it's going to be somewhat similar to the arts. You'll find programs like biology, chemistry, physics. You'll find that at all 3. But then at the Scarborough campus, there's a very unique program called paramedicine. And this is a great option for students who maybe want to become a paramedic. And it's offered in collaboration with Centennial College. And at the end of your 4 years, you'll earn both a college diploma and a University of Toronto degree. Now let's shift our attention back now to the St. George campus and speak about the 4 faculties that are again specific to there. First, we'll start with engineering. So if engineering is what you are interested in, you're in luck, as we have Canada's highest ranked faculty of engineering. Now, first, if you're a student that's maybe thinking about engineering right now and you know exactly what type of engineer you want to be, you could apply directly to the Core 8 programs. Now, I won't list them all, but some examples will be computer, civil, mechanical, mineral, and maybe even industrial. But say you're sitting there right now and you're saying, you know what, I really want to be an engineer, but I'm not entirely sure what I want to study. You have the ability to apply into track 1 undeclared. And that's where your first year is a general first year in engineering. And only at the end of your first year would you have to declare one of the Core 8 as your preferred major. Now, engineering science is an enriched program where students spend their first 2 years in high-level advanced courses and your last 2 years focusing more so on a niche major like robotics or aerospace engineering. And many of our engineering students after their 3rd year will also participate in professional experience year co-op or PEY co-op, where you get up to 20 months of full work opportunity that is paid on a full-time salary, and you have the ability to gain a lot of work experience and a lot of exposure, and then come back to the university and complete the remainder of your degree. And we see over 70% of our students returning to the University of Toronto from PEY co-op with a job offer in hand. Now, our 3 remaining smaller faculties at the St. George campus are going to be as follows. So first is architectural and visual studies. Maybe you're thinking or considering a career in urban planning, architecture, or interior design. These programs in the Daniels Faculty of Architecture, Landscape, and Design may be of great preparation for you. If you're maybe leaning a little bit more towards the study of human movement, you may want to consider kinesiology. It's a great opportunity for students to study human movement and offers a ton of opportunity to get involved in sports practicums, community placements, as well as fieldwork. Graduates from this program go into medicine, physical therapy, chiropractics, and more. And lastly, we're better to study music than in the heart of downtown Toronto. The Faculty of Music is the smallest faculty at UT and specializes in one-on-one instruction on a weekly basis. Now, at U of T, it's not just about what you're going to do in the classroom at all. There is so much happening on campus outside of the classroom, and you get to customize that experience as well. So maybe you're thinking of getting involved in career-oriented programming. So perhaps you're thinking of joining a co-op, as we mentioned, that's available at Scarborough, or maybe PEY co-op available for engineering students. We also offer research opportunities as early as your second year. So you can do independent research and earn course credit for that. That's great if you're considering going on to a program like medicine, law, or a professional graduate study program. Now, maybe you think of going abroad and you're thinking of going global. We offer unique opportunities for students to go away for a full exchange or maybe just a summer abroad. And U of T has actually raised over $3 million to support all of our students to be able to access going global. We want to ensure that it is affordable and an accessible opportunity to all U of T students. And lastly, are you into sports? Are you into student life? We've got all of that here at U of T with over 40 varsity teams, the largest intramurals program, as well as over 1,000 student clubs and committees. There is no lack of opportunity to get involved on campus. Now, in addition to that, here at the University of Toronto this year, we have actually launched 2 new networks available for Black students. Now, those networks are the Black Founders Network and the Black Research Network. The Black Founders Network is a new unique entrepreneurship incubator specifically dedicated to our Black students and faculty. This is available to Black students that are maybe considering, I want to get involved in entrepreneurship, but sometimes you don't link entrepreneurship specifically with university level studies. Well, you can do that here at U of T, and we now have a dedicated incubator along with funding to support our Black students to be able to create, to ideate, to create and accelerate their ideas. And this is really unique here at the University of Toronto in providing that network for our Black students and faculty. Now, in addition to that, maybe you're leaning more towards research, you're thinking about graduate school, maybe you want to become a researcher. All of these opportunities are available to you. And now we even have our own smaller network that is specifically dedicated to the Black Research Network. And the Black Research Network connects our current Black students with faculty members that will support them to really get a great grounding within research across our 3 campuses. So we have faculty members from across our 3 campuses that are Black, that are supporting Black students to expand their research opportunities. So they're mentoring students that are currently considering research. They're creating partnerships and collaborations for those students, as well as supporting those students with grant writing and funding. So a lot of support dedicated to Black students, a part of smaller networks where you really have the ability to build and flourish here in your undergraduate studies. So if all of this is of interest to you and you're considering joining the University of Toronto, let's speak now a little bit about your ability to apply and what that application process will look like. So first, as you know, the application process to UT is a 2-step application process. So first, you're going to submit that OUAC application. Now, when you submit that OUAC application, you will notice that there will be 7 options available to you, as there are 7 undergraduate faculties. Now, what's unique here, as you will notice, is that there are 5 specifically at the St. George campus, and Mississauga is considered a faculty, and the Scarborough campus is considered a faculty. Now, when you are making your selection for U of T on the OUAC, please keep in mind that you will have 1 choice per division or faculty up to 3 times. So meaning that any of the highlighted areas at the top, you can apply to once, and then the whole university up to 3 times. You're probably saying this is extremely confusing, please explain it, and we're going to go through some examples. So maybe you are a science buff and you are really considering computer science. That means that you could apply to the Faculty of Arts and Science at the St. George campus for computer science. You could also apply to Mississauga for computer science, and then you could also apply to Scarborough for computer science. And those would be your 3 options at U of T. And the great way that, and this is really the best way for you to maximize your ability of being admitted to the University of Toronto for the computer science program. Now, you'll notice here a student maybe is interested in only studying at the St. George campus, so they've decided to apply to mechanical engineering once, architectural studies, and then kinesiology. As you can see, they were able to do that at one campus because they've applied to different faculties. So again, it is 1 choice per faculty up to a maximum of 3 times at the University of Toronto. Now, once you've submitted that first application to U of T, You will, about a week or two later, get an email from the university thanking you for your application, and it will also have your Join U of T credentials embedded in that email. Now, it is important that you enable that Join U of T portal. This is the second step in your application process. Your Join portal is going to be a crucial step because it's where you will manage the remainder of your application to the university. So it's important that you first enable that login enable your Join portal by logging in. You submit any additional documents. You check your application status on a regular basis, and it's where you will apply for residence. So you may be saying to yourself, well, what additional documentation would I need to submit? Specifically, for our programs at U of T, you would have heard me mention earlier that we have over 700 undergraduate programs. The vast majority of them, we're just looking for your grades. The only exceptions are the 11 that are on your screen. So these 11 programs will require an additional application called a supplementary application. Now, each one is slightly different. Some may ask you to write a statement of interest, some may ask you to audition, and some may ask you to actually do a short essay, or perhaps even do a pre-recorded response to a question. But they're each going to be slightly different. So it is important that if you are applying to a program on this screen, that you ensure that you are aware as to what the supplementary application is and what the requirements they are looking for. So what are we looking for specifically at U of T? We're looking for an Ontario Secondary School Diploma with 6th grade 12 UM subjects, including English 4U. And your admissions decisions will be made based on your grade 11 finals and your grade 12 Mark School finals and midterms. Please keep in mind that we're also going to be paying close attention to any prerequisites that you may need for a specific program. And of course, in addition to if you are requiring a supplemental application. Now, scholarships and awards. U of T has one of the largest scholarship banks in Canada. There's a significant amount of funding available to you. Now, there's a few ways in which you can access scholarships at U of T. One, there are those that you're automatically assessed for. That's just based on your application to the university. You don't actually have to do anything else, just based on your transcript. The second is going to be key, and in particular for our Black students that are here tonight, I can't stress this enough, the awards profile is your gateway to additional scholarships at U of T. After you've applied and you get access to your Join U of T portal, within that portal, you will find the awards profile. You need to submit that awards profile in order to be considered for additional scholarships. In that profile, they may ask you questions about leadership and community involvement, but it also allows you to self-identify. Now, we have a number of scholarships, one of which I'm going to speak to shortly, that are available to Black students, but the way in which we are able to connect you to that is if you self-identify on the awards profile. That will then connect you to a number of other scholarships that are potentially dedicated to Black students, but also may qualify you for others. There are some scholarships that are specifically for students that are first in their family. There are some that are available to perhaps women who are going into STEM. So it's really important that you self-identify on that awards profile, as it has the potential to connect you to so much more. And at U of T, we have our own financial aid program. So many of you may have heard of OSAP or your own provincial loans and grants, but at U of T, we have our own commitment, in particular to our Canadian students, our Canadian citizens, permanent residents that are living and studying here in Canada. The UTAPS program is available to you. So say, for instance, you applied for OSAP or for your provincial aid, and that did not cover the full cost of your tuition. The UTAPS program will actually step in free of cost and cover the remainder of that tuition. Now, for students who are studying here in Ontario, once you apply for OSAP, you are automatically considered for UTAPS. For those of you who are studying outside of the province, you will need to speak with your registrar in your financial aid office to then discuss the UTAPS process. Now, I'm really excited to say that this year we have a brand new scholarship available to our Black and Indigenous students. It is called the University of Toronto Achievement Scholars. It is a newly minted scholarship valued at $10,000, and that is available to Black students. You need to, of course, submit what? You need to submit the awards profile by February 1st, and that will then put you in the pool of applicants to be considered for the U of T Achievement Scholars Program. And that is a very brand new program, and it is unique to U of T, and again, valued at $10,000 for your first year. It is also stackable, which is really phenomenal. So you have the ability, if you qualify and you receive the U of T Achievement Scholars Award and you receive another award, you can actually add that money on top of that and maybe have your entire first year paid. So there's a really great opportunity that's available here. And we do have funds to support more than just one award this year. So there will be a few that will be given out. Really excited for this new scholarship to come on board this year. Now, I know that financing your education is one thing to think about, and it's something that's always on top of our minds. So while we're speaking about scholarships, I really do think it's important to highlight our How to Finance Your U of T Education booklet called Within Reach. And that really is going to walk you through all of the different ways in which you can access funding at U of T. Again, we're Canada's largest university. There's a ton of financial resources available, and it can be difficult to understand, you know, full U of T scholarships specific to your faculty, what happens when I'm here as a student, all of that is broken down for you, as well as some really great student profiles in this booklet to give you a sense as to how some students have been able to mix and match different types of funding to really make their education affordable. So I really do want you all to stay in touch. It's so important that you stay in touch with us over time. We want to continue this conversation. As I said to you before, this is just the start. Again, these are 3 websites that you should know of, and here is my email. I have phenomenal colleagues that are working across all of our faculties from U of T Mississauga, Arts and Science, Scarborough, Engineering, Music, Kinesiology, and Architecture. Any program that you're interested in, please just email me and I'd be more than happy to connect you with them. The biggest thing I want to say to you all is that this is just the start of our conversation, and we want to continue it. Now, you all know that it is Fall Campus Week, so please stick with us throughout the week as we will be continuing all of this amazing programming. It's funny enough, tomorrow we will also have our U of T Mississauga Bay program, and they will be hosting their own programming tomorrow, and that will be dedicated to Black students that are interested in the Mississauga campus. So we encourage you to check that out. Now we're going to jump into our student panel. I don't know about all of you, but I've been waiting for this part of the evening to be rejoined by my awesome colleagues, Jonathan and Nikisha. So happy to have you all here. This is fantastic. So Jonathan, Nikisha, we're going to jump into some questions, and then students, feel free to also populate your questions in the Q&A. You're more than welcome to join us. We want this to really be a discussion, so feel free to populate any questions that you have for myself or for Nikisha and Jonathan as we go through. But we thought we would cover some common questions we think that you will often have. So let's get started. All right. So Jonathan and Nikisha, did you find it easy when you got here to U of T to make friends? And I'll probably just start with Jonathan because you're the first person on my screen, and then we'll get Nikisha to jump in.
Yeah, so this is a really good question. I think definitely for me as an international student coming to Canada for the first time, not knowing a single soul, I was so worried about making friends. In my first year, I lived in residence at University College, and I also did a University College like orientation. And I found that that made it such an easy experience to get to know people because kind of everyone was in the same boat. Nobody really knew anyone. And there were so many opportunities that you just go to this event and it's like specifically to make connections between people. Something that someone told me once that I think is so true is that U of T really is as big or as small as you want it to be. And by that, they really meant that there's so many like kind of sub-communities and opportunities within those communities to get to know people. So communities based off of like interests, based off of identities, things like that, where you can just meet people that you would want to be friends with, right? Whether it be within your program, somebody who's doing a sport that you like, or just like another Black student. So for me personally, it was within residence, but those kind of communities exist everywhere. So would definitely encourage you to check those out because it really does make it easier to make friends.
Yeah, kind of like what Jonathan just mentioned, being part of a specific group, or whether that's a student club or a sports club or something like that, does help a lot with getting to know people because it is a very big school. So it's good if you can kind of make that your little circle a bit smaller. Personally, I actually went that route, and I was part of the varsity basketball team when I first went to the school. So I made a lot of my friends that I'm still friends with today through that. So I think it's a very good option to join the club and meet people a bit more on a personal level.
Honestly, Nikisha, you're putting us all to shame. You got those ball skills, and I'm not. I don't have those skills. So I'm a little jealous. But so happy to have a varsity athlete here with us that has been through that process. So now Jonathan, I think you were a residence Don, if I'm not mistaken. So what is life in residence like?
Yes, I feel very qualified to answer this because I've actually lived in residence all 4 years, again, at University College on the St. George campus. And life in residence, it's very, very vibrant. There's always something going on. There's always, what I like about residence is that you are really able to kind of like have your own, if you have your own room or you just have a roommate, like you're kind of in your own space, you can chill by yourself, you like spending time by yourself watching Netflix, like there's tons of opportunities to do that. But the minute that you decide that you want to hang out with somebody or, watch a movie. There's so many different opportunities to do that. So I liked residence because it gave me opportunities to be social, but it also gave me the opportunity to just like chill and kind of decompress and be in my room by myself. So residence is very much like that. There's, events that are going on. There's always somebody that's going to be like, oh, hey, anybody's down to go get bubble tea or go to the dining hall with me. Like it's very, very kind of community oriented. And then there's also residence Don. So last year I was a residence Don, and this year I'm again a residence Don, but a head Don. And residence Dons are upper year students or sometimes graduate students that live in residence with like first year students, second year students, and their purpose and their role is really to provide support to those students and to help build community. So it's really nice that you have people that are specifically there for you to like make friends essentially and to be there if you're struggling academically, personally, or whatever the case might be. So yeah, I would say residence is very, very vibrant, very community oriented. If you're looking to like find your kind of rock at U of T, it's a great place to be.
And Nikisha, I think I'll just get you to jump in as well here.
All right. Yeah, so I lived on res my first year of school. So I'm actually from Toronto, but I still decided to live on res my first year just to really feel like I was involved with the university community. And it really helped my transition into school, just kind of being surrounded by classmates and just being surrounded by other students almost 24/7. And on top of that, because you live so close to the school, it kind of gets you motivated to be involved in more school activities because it is so close by, which is also a good thing to do in your first year. So if you're going to live on res, I think especially the first year is a very beneficial time to be living on res because it just kind of helps you get integrated with things on campus.
I couldn't have said that better myself. And I would say as somebody who didn't live on res, so I commuted all of my years to U of T, and I would argue that even as a commuter, I still found a lot of community on campus. But I generally say to students from what I've learned is, if you can make it happen and live on res at least for first year, I think that's really an awesome opportunity to really be embedded and immersed in that campus life. I think even if you live around the corner from U of T Scarborough and you're like, I don't know if I should live on campus, but it's a great way to just be immersed in that campus community. So great suggestions from both of you. Thank you. All right, our next question. What extracurriculars are you involved in? So we heard a little bit before, but Nikisha, tell us what else are you involved in on campus?
Currently not anything too extensive. I am doing a work study position, which is what I'm doing here right now, which has been really great because it's gotten me to meet some new people on campus, but also learn about some new opportunities that could benefit me later on in my career. I am looking to be more involved in my environmental studies course because I'm very passionate about the environment. So I'm currently in the process of actually looking at some clubs and some other opportunities for me to join in that space. So that's all for now.
Yeah, and for me, basically all of the extracurriculars I've been involved in were kind of tied to residence. So as I mentioned, like last year, I was a Don. This year I'm a Don as well. But previously, I was like on my residence council. I was a social director, so planning events and things like that. I was also a residence tour guide. So there was a lot of different like kind of volunteer opportunities that I took up, but this year is actually like a paid opportunity, which is really cool. And in addition to being a residence Don, I am a campus tour guide, which is part of the reason why I'm here today. So that's also really cool because you get to do opportunities like this, like a lovely little panel, but you also get to really kind of introduce people to the university, which has been such a rewarding experience. What I like about U of T is that there really is basically any interest that you might have, there's an extracurricular that meets it. So if it's a certain club that you're interested in, if maybe it's like a certain like student government, student newspaper, anything like that, there is like an opportunity to actually explore that. Or you can make your own.
Right? You can just make your own, like even out of the 1,000, right? You can just go to the student union, be like, I don't find one that fits me, and they'll give you money to start your own. So that's the great part about being at U of T as well. All right. So what's your favorite thing? I think I've heard a lot of like, you know, what I really like about U of T is this. So what is your favorite thing? And you can only choose one. I'm gonna make it tough. Choose one. And tell us what's your favorite thing about U of T. And I'll let Jonathan go first.
Sure. So this is a very difficult question. I feel like I've been asked this so many times, but I finally narrowed down my answer. My favorite thing about U of T is the amount of opportunities you have for professional development. So I feel like when I was coming into the university, I thought I was just going to do school, and that was pretty much it. Maybe I'll do a club here or there, but that would be the extent of like my development, would just be like academic. But as Lydia mentioned, there are so many different opportunities that you can pursue outside of the classroom. So again, like being a Don, being a tour guide, you get to be engaged in these like, you know, being in professional environments, you know, and do things that actually reflect really well on your resume. So you actually like develop all these really great skills. So by the end of your 4 years, or, you know, at the end of your degree, you have, you know, the academic accolades, but then you also have this kind of like arsenal of so many different professional skills that you gained: communication, time management, presentations, things like that. And for me, it was through like those opportunities that I pursued, but it really could be from anything. It could be from research, it could be from those co-op programs that we mentioned. And what I liked about it as well is that there's even opportunities to like kind of rise through the ranks, you know, so you can start off doing, for example, like research with a professor and then move on to do your own independent research. Or you can start off as a tour guide and move on to become a senior tour guide. So I like that you can actually kind of like, rise in the ranks in these positions as well, because again, looks great on a resume and you really come out of it with really important transferable skills.
That was great. That was a great answer. I think my favorite thing about U of T is the wide range of programs that the school offers. Because personally, going to university, I actually didn't know what I wanted to major in or minor in or any of that. I actually started off in business because a lot of people I knew were going into business, and I didn't know much about all the different programs that they offered. But once being at the school, I saw all these different options that I had, even just being in the arts and science faculty, all the different options just in that one faculty that I could choose from. So that's why I actually ended up switching programs in my second year. And I know so many people that just have these amazing combinations of minors and majors, and you really get the opportunity to learn so many different things at this school, which I think is different to some other universities. So I think it was great for me to go to a school with a lot of different options because it helped me find my passions.
It's so funny because like it's like that first year that you get is particular when you're taking an arts business to science program is so important, right? You get in that first year to kind of test different things out, see what you like. And I feel like the majority of students that come in with one plan, and then it tends to switch. And Jonathan's laughing because that is Jonathan's story, and I won't steal Jonathan's limelight because I think Jonathan's story is the best as to where he started and now where he is in his 4th year. So go ahead, Jonathan. Go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, when Nikisha was saying this, I was nodding my head. I was like, you're preaching to the choir, because I actually started off in statistics. So in my first year, my plan was, yes, I'm going to do statistics, going to become an actuary, going to do the whole thing. And I would definitely have to echo everything that Nikisha said, that you know, having that first year where you get to take general courses is so beneficial because you really do get to explore all of your interests. So I took some statistics classes, but I was like, you know what, let me take a Spanish course. Let me see, you know, let me just do it just for fun. Took the Spanish course and I loved it. Realized that maybe statistics was not the plan for me. And I was actually able to switch my program. And that's another thing that I really like about U of T is the amount of support that they give you in actually being able to switch from one thing to another. So started off in a statistics specialist, and throughout my years moved completely to Spanish specialist. And just the fact that I was able to like really pursue something that I was passionate about and that the university supported me in making that transition. You know, they didn't make it difficult for me. They let me know what I needed to do in order to make that transition, was just so beneficial because I'm sure everyone can relate. It's really scary to change something, to change plans, especially in the middle of university. And so having that kind of support was just, it was amazing.
Wow, I think that's the best one. Statistics to Spanish, like it's like what a total 180. But I mean, the great part is that now you have found a program that you love and you're pursuing that area of study. So we're getting to our last question because we want to hear from the audience. We want to hear from all of you. We want to hear your questions. But is there anything you wish you had known before applying to U of T? And then in particular, are there any sort of, and before we wrap up, are there any sort of suggestions or recommendations that you would have to prospective Black students as they start to consider making that transition to post-secondary and thinking about coming to an institution like U of T? And I guess I'll first start with Nikisha, because I think Jonathan started the last one.
Yeah, so I guess the thing that I wish I had known before is kind of small, but I kind of wish I knew about U of T time, which essentially is that all the courses and all your classes start 10 minutes after the hour. I just wish I had known about that because it would have helped me maybe plan my schedule for my classes a little better, knowing that I actually have time. I can afford to have a back-to-back class if I have enough time to walk to that class. So I did end up missing some potential to like be part of some courses because I thought it would interfere with my schedule. So just knowing about something like that helps you plan ahead a little better. So I guess I would have liked to have known that. One thing that I would say for specifically Black students, it's a little bit more specific in terms of the athletics at the school, I would say, is that right now there's a BVA, which is the Black Varsity Association happening at U of T, which is just kind of like a coalition of the Black students that are involved in varsity sports, and they just kind of made their own little community there. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I would suggest to try to find different aspects, whether that's in sports or in academics, different Black organizations to kind of just get to connect with some Black students a bit easier. I know there's also one for Rotman when I was in Rotman. There's the Black Rotman Commerce students, and they also have their own little group of Black students, and you can form your own little community there. So just, I guess, going on different websites and trying to look into those type of things so you can kind of meet some other Black students on campus, because it's just an easier way to connect with other people that way.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Nikisha. I think especially in my last 2 years, I found that I was connecting a lot more with those communities. And it's just so nice to be around people that have similar experiences to you, that can relate to you, and that you can like feel very like safe and open in chatting about certain things with. It's really, really great. Like nothing can replace that experience. Something that I wish that I had known before applying to U of T is definitely like how useful and how genuinely helpful a lot of the support services are. Because I think coming into university, I kind of came with this mindset that like, it's all on me, you know, like everything that I do in my academics, like it's going to have to be on me. And like, to an extent that is true, but there is support out there available to you when you do find that yourself struggling. So I definitely found like in first year, you know, if I was having particular trouble with like a course or maybe time management, getting accustomed to like the university kind of realm, I was just like, oh, I guess I'll just figure it out and by myself, just do it, and we'll see what happens. And it's only really in my second year or third year that I became familiar with those kinds of resources and supports that really are there specifically to help with that type of thing. So whether it be a learning strategist who can help you actually manage your time better and give you study techniques, or maybe accessibility services, they can help you with like your exams. Maybe you need a little bit more time in exams, or whatever the case might be. Like there really is like a support service out there regardless of what need you have. So I guess my advice would be to check out the support services that are available, see what might be helpful to you, and also to recognize that even if you don't necessarily think that you need it, it's still there for you. You still deserve support with school. It doesn't need to be something that, you know, you're carrying it all on your back. You can definitely have some people that help you carry that load with you too, because university is a lot. And so it's helpful to have some support services when you find that you might need them.
Finger snaps to all of it. Finger snaps to all of it. I would echo everything that Nikisha and Jonathan just said. I think the biggest thing for me is finding your tribe, and finding your people. Like, I think that regardless of what university you go to, and of course, if you come to a space like U of T, that is a large institution, that you find your support network, and whether that be through formal offices, as Jonathan has spoken about, or through community that Nikisha has spoken about, find your group. And maybe, and in full transparency, it may not be a Black Students Association, it may not be specifically Caribbean Connections or one of those groups. It may also be the music ensemble at Hart House, or it may be the Business Students Association at U of T Mississauga. Whatever that may be, and whichever faculty you may be in, whatever campus you are at, find that community of support. Because I'll tell you something, nobody gets through university alone. So if I could share any information with you, nobody gets through post-secondary alone. Yes, finger snaps. Nobody gets through it alone. So we are here to support you. There's a lot of support available here. And just know that it's important that you find that community for yourself, to get through those 4 years. And we don't want you just to get through those 4 years. You want to continue on to your graduate professional studies, and you want to ensure that you have that support here. So thank you to Jonathan and Nikisha. That was amazing. And now I see there's some Q&A in the chat. So we'll get to those questions right now. Oh, OJ has a question. Thank you, OJ. OJ from U of T Mississauga has a question. As a Black student, what are some events that you really enjoyed? And I'll allow, I think Nikisha started last, so Jonathan, you go first this time.
Yeah, I think what Lydia touched on is really true. That for me, I did find a lot of community like within Black students within residence, but I didn't actually necessarily reach out to those like kind of formal structures. So I haven't really attended many like specific like Black spaces. Some of the events that I have really enjoyed at campus are kind of like tied into other identities, the intersectionalities of things. So I found like, for example, going to talks that were specifically for queer students of color was a really impactful event for me. Again, being able to talk about your experiences and how, being queer, but then also being a racialized person is such a unique experience. I found that was like, yeah, just so nice. And actually was able to like adapt that and have something similar in residence. And it's something that was like actually able to build communities. So as a Black student, I definitely would say being able to chat with other people of color, specifically about like queerness, was something that I've enjoyed the most at university.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I haven't been to many events because during like my second year, obviously was all online because of COVID, and then we're just starting to get back into things. So my experiences are more so from first year and a little bit of things that have happened this year. But I would say it was with the BVA, which is the Black Varsity Association. They had a kind of just meet and greet. So although I am no longer part of a varsity basketball team, I did still attend, and it was open to anyone to just attend. It was primarily Black students, but there's also just other students of color that were also there. It was just a time to it was like just a get together. It was in the park. We had some food. We got to chat. You got to meet some new people. And it was great because although I'm no longer part of varsity, I still do really like sports. So I was able to bond with people over that type of stuff. And I think that was my favorite event because it was just very chill and it was a great space to meet some new people.
I think that was excellent. I think that's so important to understand the intersectionality of your interests and of your identity, of those two, right? You may identify as Black, but you may also find interest in other areas. I know that when I was in my second year, I actually started writing for a really niche magazine that was a startup. And in full, it wasn't necessarily a Black group on campus, but it was a great place to also meet folks, as you said, like other students of color, where we had the opportunity to really write unique articles. And I thought that was really cool. And even though it wasn't necessarily, but then I also had phenomenal times with BSA when I was an exec member. doing some really cool programming on campus. In particular, some of the movie screenings, they were a lot of fun. If you've ever watched a movie with a bunch of Black folks, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of finger snapping. There's a lot of laughing and clapping. So those are some of the good times as well. It really does depend on what your interests are. But I loved both of your answers because it tells you about the breadth that's available to you. And it doesn't have to be just one thing when you come to U of T. Mia has a great question. Mia wants to know if you have a bad roommate in dorms, quote unquote bad. We know what you're referring to, Mia, don't worry. Could you switch rooms or do something like that? What can you do to address that? Jonathan, this is going to you.
Yes, and I think this ties in really well to Frederick's question as well. Like, do you like the idea of roommates? And I think the benefit of having a roommate, and I think this is one of the many experiences in university where you really have the opportunity to grow, because for a lot of people, this is the first time that they're necessarily living with a stranger in close quarters. And so, you get to gain skills like communication, conflict resolution, being able to like compromise and things like that. So I will say, especially on the like dawn side of things, if you are finding that you're having some difficulties with a roommate, there's a lot that can be done, like as far as like the residents in terms of like resolving conflict. So, maybe you have one schedule and the other person has a conflicting schedule, things like that. I think the approach generally is to like have this kind of sit down conversation and see what kind of compromise can be reached that really meets both people's needs. I know a lot of residences also do like a roommate agreement. So, you actually get an opportunity to like sit down and talk about like your specific preferences and come to an actual like consensus with that person in terms of like, okay, this is how I feel about having guests in that room. This is how I feel about having light or noise in the room and things like that. I also know for a lot of like residence applications, you're generally able, and Lydia, please correct me if I'm wrong, you're generally able to kind of list your preferences. So if you're a night owl, maybe you're an early bird, maybe you like more noise, less noise, things like that. At least that was the process for me. And then they actually match you with someone that has similar responses to you. So that also kind of helps to mitigate some of those roommate conflicts before they occur. But again, if you do find that like roommate issues are popping up, usually it's approached with that conversation and trying to reach a consensus. If it does get like really, really serious, or it's to a point where it's just like, you know what, this isn't going to work and that's okay, then definitely talking to like your residents' dons,